here's Kevin Haugen.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning. Welcome into today's Community Comment. I am your host again, Kevin Haugen. It is my pleasure to welcome into our Daily Dodge TV studio and broadcasting on 95.3 WBEV. Our guest here on the program today is Roy Smalley. See, we talked about this before coming on air. You told me a story about your parents when they got married, that the minister said Smiley.
Yes.
And see, I must have had that stuck in my head because that is immediately what I went to when I went to pronounce our guest's last name. But it is pronounced Roy Smalley here on Community Comment today. He is an EMT with Mayville EMS. And Roy, thank you so much for coming on Community Comment today.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We are here to talk about a really important topic here that's coming up here next week. Next week is essentially National EMS Week. Is a time to think about all the hard work that people in EMS career fields, that the hard work that they do. And there's a sort of a event, community outreach that is happening next week there in Mayville, discussing fall prevention and how to protect people that have gone through that, who go through those types of things. And we'll dive into the specifics there on that event and what that will look like here later on in the program today. But first, I want to kick off our conversation this morning with Roy, talking about what his role is as an EMT with Mayville EMS. What is your job qualification? What do you do in that role? What does a day-to-day look like for you in this field? So, Roy, what does an EMT do essentially?
Well, what does the day-to-day look like for an EMT in Mayville? A lot of people might not realize that Mayville EMS is essentially a volunteer service. You know, we're paid on call to just a couple bucks an hour to stay available right there in town for scheduled shifts on our ambulance. But more times than not, those are during our regular working hours. So when we get paged out for a 911 call, we're leaving our regular jobs and jumping on an ambulance a lot of the time. So I think people might be assuming that we're sitting at the station all day and waiting for 911s to come in, and that's just not the case. We're a volunteer service, so I have EMS training. So you have to go through a certain amount of our class time, and then you go through what's called a national registry certification to get nationally certified, and then a licensure process through the state of Wisconsin after that occurs. So I've had a lot of education through that. I'm actually taking my next level certification through our local Mayville EMS training center right now. And when the page goes out, I jump in the ambulance and go.
Interesting. Now, what led you to find yourself in this position with Mayville EMS? Is this something that you've kind of always had interest in, a passion in, and serving in this capacity? What made you want to become an EMT?
Well, I've been serving as a volunteer firefighter for more than 10 years, and I was convinced to make the leap from being strictly fire to fire and EMS, and I was a little uncertain about it. I was a little nervous about expanding that scope of practice, as it were. But once I got into it, I loved it. I love the people I work with. Our leadership is terrific, and we're blessed to have a really strong, talented crew, especially at a time when there's a national staffing shortage.
Yeah, that is a really important topic of conversation. I feel like we could almost spend our entire show talking about the current state of EMS and what challenges are currently being faced by those who work in this field. And when you mentioned it's a volunteer-based service that you guys do there in Mayville with Mayville EMS. What is the draw? What do you guys have opportunities then for people to come in and learn about what you do, to say, hey, this is a potentially interesting career to be a part of and split your time with doing? How do you get people to come in and be a volunteer with Mayville EMS?
Right now, it's mostly word of mouth.
Yeah.
But we did get licensed as our own EMS training center at the beginning of the year. So we have our own training classroom there. We're looking at expanding that. So our first class is actually Advanced EMT, which I'm taking through my EMS agency right now through that training center. We have another class that's starting up toward the end of August for EMT Basic, and that's a perfect opportunity for people who have an interest in getting into EMS to get that education that they need to get that certification.
Fantastic. Now, is there a website or a location that people can call or come to if they're interested in learning more of participating and joining Mayville EMS?
Oh, sure, yeah. Our website is mayvilleems.org, and our phone number is 920-387-7989. So you can call that if you've got any questions at any time. And we're very intentional about being out in the community and trying to promote our EMS service and draw people in.
You mentioned being out in the community, and that's what the folks with Mayville EMS will be doing next week during National EMS Week, again highlighting fall prevention. We'll talk more about that here on our program today. Again, our guest on Community Comment is Roy Smalley, EMT with Mayville EMS. We have to take a short break. More Community Comment is coming up next.
Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV. Here's Kevin Haugen.
It is 10:18 on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Welcome back into our second segment of Community Comment. Today on our program this morning is Roy Smalley. He is an EMT with Mayville EMS. We're here to highlight National EMS Week, which is going to be kicking off this weekend and running through next week, as well as a fall prevention community outreach event that is happening there in the Mayville community But we'll get to that in just a moment. Want to start things off here in our second segment, Roy, talking about National EMS Week. And just obviously these past couple of weeks, we've seen recognition for communications officers, law enforcement officers. This is kind of the time of year where we really start to recognize and appreciate the hard work that that people in these fields are providing the community. And that's kind of the same deal with National EMS Week. It's important to recognize the hard work that you and many of those others people in this career do for the community.
Yeah, we do really appreciate that. Nobody got into this business for kudos or nobody's getting rich running EMS calls, but we do appreciate that a week is set aside every year to recognize us for our service. That being said, we sat down and decided that we wanted to actually take that National EMS Week as an opportunity to give back to our community rather than just receive kudos from our community.
Yeah.
So we're using this as an excuse to prevention program. Falls are one of the number one types of injury-related calls that we respond to. Make up probably more than half, probably 65% of the injury-related calls we respond to. And most falls happen in the home. So we decided to kick off that fall prevention program with a SIP Don't Trip Week. So what we're doing is we're giving back by encouraging people to bring their throw rugs to us. And throw rugs present a major risk factor for tripping and slipping in the home. So in exchange for people surrendering their throw rugs to us, we're going to give them a special exclusive commemorative coffee mug with the Sip Don't Trip logo on it that they can then take to the Open Door Coffee House, which is right near the EMS building, and use that for an additional 10% off of any beverage during EMS week.
That's fantastic.
And then those surrendered rugs will be picked up by high school students who will upcycle them into cat scratching posts for our County Humane Society to be sent home with new adopters.
That's awesome.
So circle of life for these rugs.
I would say so. So they're still finding some use, even though they're not going to be continued as what they were originally made for as a throw rug. But you mentioned there in kind of what this program entails here, just a couple of other local organizations and businesses, the coffee shop and the high school that is going to be participating in this as well. It's cool to see a group effort coming together and supporting one another and helping out with this event as well.
Oh yeah, that's very exciting to draw the community together like this, as for a community safety program like this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, so when they drop these, or when you collect these throw rugs, where are they? Are they bringing them to the Mayville EMS? Where are they dropping these off to?
Yeah,
if
you can watch our Facebook page or call our phone number for times that will be available there to collect those rugs. We are a volunteer service, so the building is not staffed 24/7. Or you can actually take your rugs to the Open Door Coffee Shop as well, and they will be accepting them there in exchange for the mugs.
Fantastic. Again, that is the SIP Don't Trip campaign taking place during National EMS Week there in Mayville. And Roy, you mentioned throw rugs are one of the leading contributors to people tripping and falling in their home. Why is that? What makes throw rugs so dangerous for people in their homes?
A lot of throw rugs have a kind of a slippery backing. They don't have a grippy backing. So when you're walking in them, they can tend to shift or slide, which can contribute to a slip, trip, or fall. A lot of throw rugs are, if you remember growing up in like the 70s and into the 80s, the shag carpet.
Yes.
A lot of these throw rugs look like they've been cut right out of a shag carpet. They stand up very tall and they're nice and cushy to stand on, but the downside is they present a big trip hazard especially for older adults who maybe can't lift their feet up quite as high, or they're using a mobility aid like a walker or a cane. That can get stuck on there. Sometimes I call throw rugs launching pads, because if you catch your toe on one, you're gonna launch yourself. And we've seen that happen, and I've seen that happen as well. And sometimes, especially in more dimly lit areas, those throw rugs can blend in with the floor. So if maybe they're a neutral color or a color that blends in with whatever tile you've got on your floor, for example, it'll be a little bit harder to see And especially as we get older and our visual acuity goes down a little bit, we can tend to not see that and trip on them.
Yeah, and there's some safety tips to keep. Obviously, some people like the throw rugs. They want to hold on to them. Is there things that people can do to help minimize those risks of tripping and falling?
Absolutely. If you're going to have a throw rug, I would recommend not having them in a really highly trafficked area, which can minimize your chance of catching your toe on one. If you're going to get one, make sure you get one that has a very grippy backing. You can get them with a nice grippy silicone or even a double-sided tape that can help hold it down better. And make sure that they're thin and flat, not big, tall kind of pile carpets that are a lot easier to catch your toe on or your mobility aids. And then if you're going to pick one out, also make sure that it's a contrasting color with your floor, so it's easy to see and that area is well lit where it's going to be laid.
I'm no rug expert, so are there rugs that are maybe better for inside the home than a throw rug, a flatter rug that doesn't have as much lift as a throw rug may have? Is there some other things that you would recommend that, obviously some people just like the idea of a throw rug, but are there other ones that you would recommend that people purchase or have in their homes instead of a throw rug?
Well, in my kitchen at home, we've actually got it's almost like a silicone foam. So it's very comfortable to stand on. It's harder to catch your toe on because it's beveled on the edges. It's very grippy underneath, and it's a little thinner and flatter, even though it actually feels very nice underfoot. So something like that, rather than something that's made just out of carpet, is a great idea.
Fantastic. Again, that is the SIP Don't Trip campaign taking place, and that is available all through next week, May 18th through the 24th, every single one of those days.
Yeah, we're running that program May 18th through the 24th, which is EMS week.
Okay, again, that's happening next week there in Mayville. And Roy, you mentioned more than half of the calls that EMS responds to are fall related. That's a majority of the types of calls that you guys respond to. One of those contributing things we just spent a few minutes talking about, those throw rugs cause a lot of those falls and trips. Is there other things that in the home that could potentially be a danger or a risk that you've seen in EMS that has led to falling or tripping?
Oh,
that
yeah.
could be a risk for people.
Yeah. When I talk about fall prevention, I like to focus kind of on 3 areas to help people remember the big risks. Yeah. And I like to talk about bedrooms, bathrooms, and beyond.
Sounds like a store.
It does sound like a store, doesn't it? But it helps remember.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So there are some certain hazards in the bedroom. So throw rugs in the bedrooms is of course one, and they're nice to have in the bedroom. But most bedrooms are going to be carpeted anyway. In the bedroom, you want to make sure that the area is well lit. Maybe at night that's not as nice. So if you're going to have some dimmer lighting, at least have maybe a motion activated night light in there, or a light that's easy to reach from your bed that you can turn on if you have to get up in the middle of the night. Especially for a lot of older adults, you want to have some of the kind of the morning essentials that you need right there and available. So maybe a change of clothing that's right nearby. If you've got medicines or eyeglasses or things like that that you need first thing in the morning, have those that are within easy reach of your bed right on your nightstand. And make sure that there's a clear path between the bedroom and the bathroom. A lot of falls that happen will happen between the bedroom and the bathroom in the early morning, late night hours when somebody has to get up and use the restroom in the middle of the night.
Yeah. When it comes to, obviously this is a issue that not primarily, but oftentimes we see it in an older population and something that happens there. And if you have a family member that has an older person that lives on their own, do you recommend doing checkups every once in a while, or calling in or checking in to make sure that they're okay and that nothing seriously happened?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The best outcomes that we see are among older adults that get checked on frequently. Yeah. So family members come by, or neighbors come by, or they have friends that come and visit. So that if something does happen, it can be discovered right away. Or if there's a problem that they notice, they can see that. What people can also do is contact their local fire or EMS department and ask for what's called a home safety survey. Those are usually offered free of charge by fire and EMS agencies. We can come to your home with a checklist and we can see if there are any risks or hazards that need to be addressed. We're not looking at reporting people to the fire inspector or anything like that. This would be a free service that would be done just to point out things that could be changed to make your home a little safer.
Fantastic. Again, we're with Roy Smalley here on Community Comment today. The SIP Don't Trip campaign taking place during National EMS Week, May 18th through the 24th. We'll be sure to hit on the details of that campaign and how to drop off your throw rugs and get that coffee mug to take over to the Open Door Coffee House there in Mayville and get an extra 10% discount on your refills on the program here today. But we do have another break we have to take. More Community Comment is coming up next.
The double.
Kevin Haugen on 95.3 WBEV.
Well, thank you, Jake, and welcome back into our third segment this morning here on Community Comment. Our guest on the program today is Roy Smalley. He is an EMT with Mayville EMS. We are highlighting National EMS Week and a fall prevention program taking place, the Sip Don't Trip campaign, where members in the community can bring in their throw rugs and drop them off for a coffee cup that people can take over to the Open Door Coffee House in Mayville, get a little discount there on their refill drinks there at that establishment. And which also really is cool is that these rugs will be upcycled then to be made into cat scratching posts to be donated to the Dodge County Humane Society from the high school students there at Mayville. So really a cool program all around that people can take advantage of next week. And Roy, in our last segment before going into break, we were highlighting just some other hazards that could exist in the home. That there's something you mentioned, that the bed, bath, is that what it?
Bedrooms, bathrooms, and beyond.
There you go.
I don't want to infringe on any trademarks.
I don't either. That's why I wanted you to say it, which highlights some of the danger areas inside a home that could lead to people falling and tripping and slipping there. And during the break, there's a couple things that you were highlighting to me that I want to make sure we hit on as well. And some of those involve the bathroom. You mentioned that toilets can oftentimes be a problem for people and have issues with falling.
Right, yeah, especially lower toilets. They require some leg strength to stand up from. And as we get older, of course, our leg strength can tend to diminish. And if you've got some special physical challenges, that might make it even harder. So lower toilets definitely present a fall risk in the bathroom. But you can get toilet seat risers that will help lift you up a little bit higher, make it easier to stand up. In the bathroom, we sometimes refer to something called the bathroom Bermuda Triangle, which is that little gap between the toilet, the wall, and the bathtub that you fall into and you get stuck and can't get out, kind of like the real Bermuda Triangle. So we tell people to be aware of that, and that riser on the toilet is great, and grab bars are definitely a must. Some people will tend to use their towel bar as a grab bar. They're really not designed for that. They will pull out of the wall eventually. So making sure that you've got a proper grab bar that's installed near the toilet, the proper grab bar that's installed around the tub in the shower, and maybe consider as we get older, adding a shower chair and a shower head that's that's removable and you can use.
Yeah, do you also recommend, I feel like a lot of times I could use this myself because I find myself almost tripping in the shower, are these grip pads that you can place down on the bottom of a shower. Do you often see those helping out in people?
Oh, absolutely. They do help, yeah. Most falls do happen in the bathroom. Yeah. And a lot of them are related to the shower. You get water in the bottom of a smooth tub. It gets slippery. You add some soap into that mix, and that spells disaster. So adding those sticky gripper pads in the bottom of your tub or shower, definitely a good idea.
Great. And another thing that we want to highlight here, especially in this modern age of technology and the more things that were required to be plugged in to use our extension cords. Those can often be a tripping hazard for people as well.
Extension cords are a huge tripping hazard, yeah. And as you mentioned, especially now in an age where we've got to plug in our phone, we've got to plug in our tablet. If you've got a portable space heater that's plugged in, you got to watch out for that cord, and portable air conditioning units, things like that. So making sure that those extension cords are out of the way, that they're not on the floor, that you're not setting up a tripwire for yourself in your own home. But you definitely don't want to put them underneath a rug. That's another hazard entirely that could lead to a fire.
Yeah. So some good tips and reminders for people to safeguard their homes. So they don't become a victim to falling. We also want to be sure to highlight area resources that are available for people to take advantage of, to check in and see if just to make sure that they're doing okay and making sure that they're still healthy and being able to live independently. There's some really great resources here in Dodge County that people can take advantage of.
Absolutely, yeah. We mentioned before that some of the best outcomes we see are among older adults who have family members or friends or neighbors that check on them regularly. Yeah. And there are some community-based organizations right here in Dodge County that can help with that. The ADRC, the Aging and Disability Resource Center, is one of them. And for people who are at fall risk or have frequent falls, that's something that we'll usually recommend is connecting with the ADRC. They can provide transportation, they can come and check on you, things like that. And organizations like Meals on Wheels, who can come, right to your home and sit and visit with you while you have your lunch. Very, very important community-based organizations. And there's often a misconception when we bring those up that we're trying to get them connected with these organizations in order to take them out of their home. And that couldn't be more the opposite of what we're trying to do. We're trying to get them connected with these organizations to help keep them in their home, to help them stay more independent, but still be connected to resources that they might need.
Yeah, and really it's about wanting them to keep their independence and be able to live at their home, and again, having people check in and having people that know, hey, we got to check on this individual, make sure they're doing okay is very important. Again, the ADRC of Dodge County is a great one there. Meals on Wheels, another one. Roy mentioned is some great resources that can be utilized here in Dodge County for those who who may still want to live at home, who have maybe more susceptible to falling and injuring themselves in their home,
or maybe just need a ride.
Sure, that too. Absolutely.
Our mother-in-law gets rides to her hair appointments and her nail appointments and things like that. So.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really great resources out there that people can take advantage of and utilize to make sure that people are, again, safe and protected inside their own homes. And Roy, before we take our last break here on Community Comment today, I want to give you one more opportunity to highlight this really cool program taking place next week where people can bring in their throw rugs and get some cool deals out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're doing a Sip Don't Trip campaign, which is a kickoff for our citywide fall prevention program that will grow over time. And as part of the Sip Don't Trip campaign, we're asking people to bring in their throw rugs, which present a fall hazard, as we've talked about, and exchange them for an exclusive commemorative mug. They're being printed up by us by a company called Hughes Tees, Hustees, out of Hustisford. Terrific looking mugs. They designed the logo for us. I'm very excited about it. And with that special commemorative mug, they can get an extra 10% discount at the Open Door Coffee House in Mayville during EMS Week.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned that this is, again, in partnership or in conjunction with National EMS Week taking place next week, and really wanting to give back and educate and help out in the community. Obviously, it's early. It's a year out. Is this something that you guys are hoping to continue for every National EMS Week? Have some sort of community outreach program where you can educate the community about some particular important topic that you want to share with them?
I absolutely think so. And with the kind of eyes being turned toward EMS providers during National EMS Week, there's never a better time in the year to actually start giving back to the community and educating them on different hazards around that they can avoid.
Perfect. Fantastic. Again, we're with Roy Smalley here on Community Comment and EMT with Mayville EMS. Again, we have to take another break. More Community Comment is coming up next.
back with one last segment here for today's edition of Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV. Here's Kevin Haugen.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome back into Community Comments here on 95.3 WBEV and streaming on our YouTube page, Daily Dodge TV. We are with Roy Smalley here on the program today, an EMT with Mayville EMS. We're talking about National EMS Week and a program taking part in conjunction to that here, the SIP Don't Trip campaign. That members there in the community can bring their throw rugs and pick up a coffee mug that will get them a discount at the Open Door Coffee House there in Mayville. And again, those throw rugs will be upcycled into cat scratching posts that will be donated to the Dodge County Humane Society. So really awesome program all the way around. But here in our last segment of Community Comment today, want to highlight a really cool development there that has taken place that's relatively new here for the Mayville EMS group, and that is the training center there in Mayville. And Roy, maybe before we dive into that particular topic, just discuss what had been the setup there for Mayville EMS when it comes to training and getting your certifications. Was it traveling to a different community and taking courses there? What was that process like here? And now we can pivot and talk about what it is now for Mayville EMS.
Sure, yeah. Well, to become a certified EMT, you do have to take all the classes. Yeah. And we've been running classes in Mayville for a while, but under the umbrella of a different agency using their training license as a satellite campus. But we decided that it was time for Mayville EMS to take the next step. So we did all of the work, all of the paperwork and everything to get our license from the state of Wisconsin as an independent training center. So as of January 1st this year, we actually are an independent EMS training center, and we're going to be running a lot of classes. I'm actually taking my advanced level certification through them right now. Finals are coming up next week, and then I can do my national certification exam, which I'm getting a little bit nervous about. More nervous than being on the radio.
Oh my goodness, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah. I'm very excited about it, though.
That's awesome.
But we've been running our classes. We've got, I think I mentioned before, we've got our next EMT basic class starting up in August, and there are scholarship opportunities out there among different state organizations to help cover the costs of that if you need. But very exciting to have our own training center right in Mayville, especially during a time when staffing levels are low. It's harder to get people involved and excited about EMS. It's great to have this amazing resource right there in our community that makes it so convenient to get your training right there. Our training center is just, it's a half a mile from my house. So I don't have to worry about driving a long distance to get the classes that I need. Small class sizes, and all of our instructors are actually currently practicing EMTs with a lot of experience. So it's really a terrific resource that promotes a lot of hands-on training.
That's awesome. Now, when it came to getting the training license there in Mayville, has this been something that has been on the mind of Mayville EMS for a while, and it just now finally was able to come to fruition? What ultimately decided to kick off that process for Mayville EMS to get that training license, become a certified training center?
Well, I don't sit in the big leadership chair there, so I don't know all the details behind how they reached that decision, but I know that it had been in the works for a while. I remember discussions about that going on when I was taking my basic certification classes there.
Yeah. So again, that was obtained the 1st of January this year. That training center there in Mayville. Now, is this something that is opened up for other people to come in and be a part of these classes for other EMS services?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't just serve the people of Mayville. We've got people in my current class from as far away as Kettle Moraine and in Hartford. So yeah, that's that we serve a lot of people there.
That's awesome.
And we run CPR certification classes. We run industrial safety classes, emergency response classes, things like that. So it's not just EMS training.
Interesting. Is the CPR class, I mean, that's something that most public people can take. Is that something that's offered to the community to come in and take part of those?
Yeah.
Or is that, okay. Oh,
yeah, we'll run CPR classes right there out of the training center, or we actually go to businesses in the area as well to do CPR classes there.
That's great. That's fantastic. Again, we're with Roy Smalley here on Community Comment today. Before we sign off on our program, I want to be sure we highlight a upcoming fundraising event that's taking place later this month. And Roy, there's something that I didn't know again before you came on here today and was able to enlighten me that really these fundraising events are crucial to the Mayville EMS and what you guys are able to do.
They really are. We pride ourselves on purchasing most of our equipment and needs out of fundraising money. Which is terrific that we're able to be mostly self-sustaining financially without posing too much of a tax burden. And our biggest annual fundraiser is coming up at the end of the month. On the 31st of May, we've got our annual golf outing, which takes place at the Mayville Golf Course. We try, like I said, as much as possible to use these fundraising events to raise the funds that we need to stay in operation and provide the services that we do. If you like to golf, come on out and golf. If you don't like to golf, you can come on out and drink. And if you like to do both, then we got you set.
Awesome, fantastic. And if you want to just support a good cause and maybe you're not a fan of golfing but just want to contribute in any way, I'm sure it's still signing up or even making a monetary donation. I'm sure you accept donations outside.
We accept donations. We'll have raffle baskets there, so if you want to come and just participate in the raffle, you can do that. Lots of opportunities to even if you don't like golf.
Oh, fantastic. Now, do people need to register a team or per person for the golfing portion of this event? Do they got to reach out ahead to be able to get their name on a list to be able to take part in the golfing fundraiser?
Yeah, you can register your team at mayvilleems.org.
Okay, fantastic. And that again is May 31st, taking place at the Mayville Golf Course. Might be testing, Roy, hear you, but is there hours that it starts and ends that runs through that we could share with our listeners today?
The golf outing?
Yes.
Yeah, there are hours. You're right. You're testing me. You got me. I think it starts right away in the morning. So I think it starts probably like 8 o'clock or something like that.
But people can go online.
They can go online to our website, and the information should be there.
Fantastic. Now, are there other? You mentioned that this is really the big fundraising event that Mayville EMS puts on throughout the year. Are there other events that take place here and there, brought fries, smaller things that you guys use? That
we do other smaller things throughout the year. Yeah.
That you guys fundraise. Again, that all those proceeds go towards purchasing equipment and the tools utilized by Mayville EMS that is so important in the job that they do there. So be sure to, if you're free that weekend, put it on the calendar to head out to the Mayville Golf Course and support what the folks there are doing there with the Mayville EMS. And Roy, one more time, before we depart here on Community Comment today, want to be able to remind our viewers and listeners how they can drop off their throw rugs and be a part of that fall prevention safety program taking place next week. What do they need to know about that?
Sure. They can drop off their rugs at the Open Door Coffee House. They'll be accepting them and trading you your rug for a special commemorative mug. Or you can drop them off at the Mayville EMS building. And we'll have information posted on our Facebook page about when we'll have staff available there to accept your rugs, or you can call us anytime at 920-387-7989.
Fantastic. Want to, again, thank our guests here for taking the time to join us on the Community Comment program today. Roy Smalley, an EMT with Mayville EMS. Roy, thank you again so much for your time today.
I want to thank you for having me on.
And that will do it for today's Community Comment.